Dealers are so weak right now that even cars like this 2022 Toyota Camry is falling in price. And we're finding that dealers are having a harder time selling stuff like this because banks are tightening up. And this video has been sponsored by SimpliSafe. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Some big banks are putting the brakes on smaller car dealerships. They're pulling back on lending.
And if you want to know exactly what a dealer like me pays for something like this, well, we'll show you that later. So as you can see behind me right now, I have a lot of cars that we have recently bought. These are all in the recon phase. We have cars up on the hill that are for sale, but not as many as we usually have because we're selling through a lot of them. We're really benefiting from this car market in two ways where, okay, cars on the wholesale level are going down and down and down, so we're able to buy a lot more. Those mid-tier cars that were out of our range that we like to sell for like $5,000 and under, now they're lowering down to our range where I can buy them. All of these cars behind me, that's what we're going to do with them. And then we're selling a lot more cars that we're actually getting ready. As soon as we get them out there, we're moving out a lot of cars right now because we're inheriting a lot of customers. Inflation is really hurting a lot of the average consumer. So these average of a used car payment of $550 and an average new car payment being $750, people can't afford it. So what are they doing? They're getting together $3,500, $4,000, whatever, just to come and buy a point A to point B car from me to save up their money to be able to get into that next car, or they're just waiting on the market to go down. So we're inheriting all of those consumers right now. So things that are hurting a lot of these other car dealers, well, it's really helping my business, and it's just a factor of the way that my business is set up. So the tighter that the economy gets, the tighter that the banks get, and the less money that people have, we can actually see it happening in real time here at my car dealership because that's pushing a lot of those consumers to me, and it's pushing a lot of those cars that other car dealers aren't wanting to buy to me also. So it's great for my business. But that's really showing us signs that the economy is maybe not as strong as what we're led to believe. And another massive problem for the car market, and we're going to be living with this for a very long time, is the quality, both on the new and the used car side. Well, let's start with the new. Well, it's no secret. All these manufacturers have been putting out vehicles, and we're seeing recall after recall after recall. Ford is one of the biggest offenders.
Ford is recalling more than 500,000 F-150 pickup trucks.
We're having more recalls now than we've seen in a very, very, very long time.
Multiple automakers have had to recall vehicles in the U.S. this week over safety concerns.
It's something that we're going to have to live with in this car market because those new vehicles that maybe were rushed out because production was behind and we needed to get vehicles to consumers. People had money. They were trying to get vehicles out as quickly as possible. Maybe some corners were cut.
General Motors is recalling nearly 820,000 pickup trucks due to a safety issue.
That quality is going to filter into the used market years from now. And then we have, okay, because the prices were so high, people were holding on to their cars for longer. It's even a situation we're dealing with right now, and I'm seeing it every single day at these used car dealer auctions. The quality of used vehicles is going down because people are not really trading out of their car because they want an upgrade anymore. A lot of cases they're trading out and buying new cars because they have to. They don't want to sign up for these new massive monthly payments. They don't want to pay all this money for these new cars, so they're just not trading in their cars unless they absolutely have to. So the quality of cars that we've seen at car auctions over the last 2.5, 3 years, they're way down than what they had been 4 or 5 years ago. So this is something that we're also going to have to deal with right now in this car market and for the foreseeable future, because quality on the new end, way worse. Quality on the used end, way, way, way worse. And that's what we're seeing at a lot of used car dealerships. And I can tell you, Alex, my mechanic, he's having to put in the hours now because the stuff that we get in, guess what? If we get it in, we got to fix it. And right now, lending is even a massive problem for a lot of these car dealerships, both new and used. And on the new side, about 2 years ago, they could actually turn that into a profit center for their dealerships. So a lot of these manufacturers, what they'll do is they'll give floor plan assistance to a lot of these franchise dealers. What a floor plan is basically just their credit line that they're able to buy their new inventory. And the manufacturers would assist them in paying for these floor plan costs. So they were moving cars, these dealers were moving cars so quickly and interest rates were so low that this manufacturer assistance that was given to these dealerships was actually more than what it was actually costing them to hold their inventory. So their floor plan costs were negative. They were getting money more than what they were having to pay. So it was a profit center for them. And on the used car dealer side, it's a very similar thing. Most used car dealers, they don't pay cash for their cars. They swipe what's basically like a credit card to get their inventory. And because interest rates were so low just a few years ago, it would also almost cost them no money to buy inventory. It's basically free money that they could get their inventory for, and they were flipping it so quickly that they weren't having to pay hardly anything. But all of that has been flipped on its head now because interest rates have risen. So now floor plan costs for used car dealers are actually costing them a lot of money, and on top of their interest rates costing them more money, it's the fact that they have to keep cars longer on their lots. It's a slower time right now, so it's taking a lot longer for used car dealers to sell their cars, so their inventory sits on their lot for a lot longer. And for every month that one car sits on their lot, it costs them extra money, and then you just multiply that across all of their inventory, and it's costing dealers so much more money to operate now, especially if they're borrowing money to buy their inventory. And then on the new car side, it's no longer a profit center, because what they're having to do is just very similar to the used car dealers. Their inventory is sitting on their lot for a lot longer. It's costing them way more money. Interest rates are higher. All that floor plan assistance, it's going really quickly, and now it's costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month to just keep their inventory on their lot. Big time difference in what's going on right now with lending for dealers versus 2 years ago. All right, so I'm a used car dealer and I've got a lot of inventory sitting out here, and I need to make sure that it's protected. The way that I do that is through a security system. So I want to thank today's sponsor, Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Did you know that most break-ins happen during the day, especially in the summer, which is what we're in right now? Simply Safe's award-winning system with advanced sensors and cameras offers comprehensive security against intruders, fires, floods, and more. With 24/7 professional monitoring and fast protect, their agents respond within 5 seconds of the alarm. They can even speak directly to the intruders through the smart alarm camera. Simply Safe's expert agents can assess situations promptly and take immediate steps to ensure your family's safety. Their exclusive technologies allow them to speak to intruders in real time, stopping them in their tracks. They can confirm emergencies and convey critical details to 911 for a prioritized response. Simply Safe is known for its reliability, affordability, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees, and easy DIY setup. You can arm your system or check camera feeds from the app, providing unmatched convenience and peace of mind. Plus, there's no long-term contract, just reliable protection you can trust. Save 20% off your Simply Safe security system when you sign up for a Fast Protect monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit simplysafe.com/carquestions to customize yours. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Here's the problem with the car market for the future. So these manufacturers, they've now seen that they can get crazy amounts for all of these vehicles. They see that they can keep these ultra high margins and make sure that they can really limit their production if they want to raise prices. So now that they've seen this and they've seen that the prices that they can get from consumers and the consumers will pay it, why would they ever go back to a model where they're just hammering and hammering and hammering these dealerships and having razor thin margins like what we're used to in the automotive industry? Well, we're probably not going back to that. So as far as on the new car side, we've even seen that what a company like Ford has come out and said, well, even though sales are weakening, our MSRPs are still going to go up. That's going to be a lot of manufacturers. They're not here to try to move volume anymore. They're here to make money. That's what they're going to do. So this is probably going to be the standard across the auto industry that, okay, we see from the big three, the affordable four-door sedans, they don't really even make them anymore. What they're doing, they're making these very large F-150s. They're not making a lot of the Mavericks. They're making the things that make them the most money, and they're going to keep pumping those to the dealership, even when the American public are screaming for more affordable vehicles. What do the auto manufacturers do? Oh, well, you want some affordable vehicles? Well, how about we raise our MSRPs? But they've seen that they've been able to do it. Dealers keep taking these vehicles in, and consumers keep buying them. So this is going to be something that continues at least for the near future. And this is bad. This is bad for the auto industry. This is bad for the average consumer. But this is how they're making money. And at these used car dealer auctions, we're seeing more and more and more repos come through the system. And it is making prices go down, but not for the reason that you're thinking. So what you would think is, okay, we have this flood of repossessions come to the auction, more inventory, that's going to push the prices down. But really, these aren't cars that car dealers want to buy. And we have such a lack of trade-ins coming through the system that even if we get this massive surge of repossessions, even if repossessions go up twice as much as what they are right now, there's still this massive gaping hole from all of these trade-ins from these new car dealers not selling their cars that are not coming to these auctions.
A spike right now in car repossessions. Economists are blaming it on inflation.
What this surge in repossessions is doing right now is it's causing the banks to tighten up. And what that means is that credit is not available for a lot of people that were able to get these loans previously.
Banks have no doubt stiffened their standards with the turmoil seen within the banking sector, including the banks that closed and the simultaneous raising of rates to control inflation. That has led to this environment where loans are harder to come by.
So when they come into these car lots and they try to buy cars, they can't do it because what do we know? We know that most people, when they buy cars, they don't pay cash. They get a loan for their cars. And if they can't get a loan for their car because the banks have tightened up, because the environment has gotten a lot more tough, thus people losing their cars, then that means these car dealers, they can't sell as many vehicles as they were able to a year and a half ago. So since these car dealers are having a harder time because the banks are tightening up, then that means they can't buy a lot of these vehicles at auction. Their lots are already filled up. They can't refill them right now because they can't sell them. They can't sell them, they can't buy them. That's pushing prices on the wholesale level down and down and down. But you know what? I see you in the comments. I get it. Prices are coming down. I'm seeing on the wholesale level. We're seeing on the retail side. If you're willing to go and try to find yourself a deal, you can find it. But most people out there, they're not seeing prices come down in a meaningful way. And I get it. Prices, even though they've come down, they are still too high. I know it's too expensive out there. So, I mean, really, who's to blame? Well, we have manufacturers that have really crushed these MSRPs. They've sent them to the moon, and it's because they're able to sell them to their dealers. So, well, is it the dealers for taking these cars at high prices? Well, they really have to if they want to make money, if they want to sell them to the consumers. But on top of the MSRPs being high, what do dealers do? And they're still currently doing right now. Well, they add market adjustments. They add BS fees like nitrogen, all this stuff that they want their consumers to pay. There's still dealers out there that you go into their establishment and they will not let you buy a vehicle without their $3,000 add-on package. Recently, I've been to a dealership to go look at a used car, and they wanted to charge an extra $3,000 plus another $1,000 for a dock fee to be able to buy a $13,000 car. Yes, these dealerships are out there. Just you have to avoid them. There are dealerships out there that will sell either at MSRP or under MSRP. And even that is still not a good deal compared to where we were back in 2019. So yes, I get it. I understand. Prices are still way too high. But this is a start for us to start seeing movement in the right direction. It's just if you want to get a good deal, if you want to see actual good prices, you're just going to have to wait. And as the market tightens up, it's going to continue to get better. So the longer you wait, the better the deal that you're going to be able to get. And it's really tough. I understand that you don't want to wait and you want prices to just fall off a cliff right now. But it's not going to happen. We need more supply in the market. We need more We need more panic from a lot of dealers. So banks are really a big problem. They're really a big, we can put a lot of blame on the banks too, because a lot of these loans that people were able to get that they shouldn't have been able to get. Banks wrote the loans for a lot of these car deals that shouldn't have happened. The LTV, the loan to value for a lot of these cars that went out over the last year and a half was like 140%. And that shouldn't happen. A healthy system should not be set up in a way where people can borrow money up to 140% of the value of what they're borrowing the money on. That's just a setup for disaster. And that's why we're seeing a lot of auto loan delinquencies. That's why we're seeing so many repos come through the system right now. And then on top of that, you're going to have people, they're going to walk away from their cars. We're already starting to see that. People are Googling how to get rid of their auto loans, how to self-repo. That's popping up in Google Trends right now, and that's going to continue to be a problem as the values of these cars continue to fall, and as people are trying to figure out ways to get rid of some of the payments that you know what, they really can't afford right now. But really, I mean, at the end of the day, what is it on? It's on the consumer. It's on the consumer to sign up for these loans. It's on the consumer to pay these ridiculous prices. If from the beginning they would have said no, then we wouldn't be in the shape that we're in right now. Prices wouldn't be where they are. People vote with their wallets. People vote with their pocketbooks. And if they refuse to pay these high prices, guess what? Manufacturers can't have these MSRPs that are sky high. Dealers can't charge these add-ons, whatever. But the whole system is lined with money. It's lined with greed. And if there's money out there to get, if there's extra margin for these companies to get, guess what? They're going to get every penny of it. And it's up to the consumer. It's up to you. It's up to you to say no. And that's when prices can come down, is when us collectively, consumers, when we say no, then that's when prices come down. And because that I know a lot of these car dealers, even on the higher end side, are having some trouble, I've seen that on the wholesale level, a lot of the newer used cars are taking a big hit too. I've got a 2022 Camry right here. I've got two 2022 HRVs that I bought recently because, okay, if I see a place where I can make some money, I can be transparent about it, well, I'm gonna go after that too. So that's what we're gonna start doing here in the near future. And if you want to see exactly what I have in these cars, well, we'll put a link down in the description below, so you can check it out. You see exactly what I have in them, what I've done to them, all of that. We got it all detailed down below.